so hungry. That's how my son talks. And he goes, but Mommy, I'm just so hungry.
I just can't go another
And he rubs his tummy while he does it, and it's super sad. So we always try to have snacks on us, but I always have snacks in the car. That cooler is kept cool with ice packs, so we have extra peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because apparently that's all he likes to eat when he decides he's hungry in the middle of anywhere. And we do that when we go like to the zoo. We take juices and snacks and sandwiches.
Most of those places definitely allow it. And even if they don't allow it for the whole group, they'll allow it for kids.
Well, and you don't always have to take in. Some places you go in and you're only there for a couple of hours.
Yeah,
like
the
zoo. And you go out and picnic. I love the Houston Zoo for that because you can go in and then they have that giant park on the outside of it. And we can go there and picnic and it's fantastic. But
you know, I definitely have that same concept in my mind of what you're saying of having basically like a backstock in your car.
Yeah.
And then having a grab bag.
Yeah.
And I have like a couple grab bags. I have one that's like a backpack and it always has the change of clothes, what's essential right then. So water, food, and a pull-up and wipes.
Sure.
And then I have another grab bag that's for cleanliness. So I have like napkins and the Clorox wipes and the hand sanitizer and
that's
all
smart.
that kind of stuff. And the Band-Aids and things are
That's
in like a
smart.
separate little baggie in my glove compartment.
I've just gotten to where I keep extra Band-Aids and like I just have like a couple like those alcohol rubbing wipes that you can get, you know. I have those and a couple of Band-Aids in my purse for emergency reasons.
You know what I found in my purse the other day at work?
A chicken nugget?
A sock.
Oh, that's weirder than that's all I was expecting.
Anyway.
Now you know where that missing
I
sock
literally
is.
just pulled it out and held it in there and I was just staring at it and one of my coworkers goes, "What are you doing?" I go, "I have a dinosaur sock." And I'm just so confused as to why it's in my purse.
I don't even know why it's here.
So even us over planners still have moments of confusion.
Absolutely. I always over plan. That's my like go-to thing. But when you're thinking of where to go, you should also consider the age of your children and plan it out from there. Does it have to be kid-friendly? Are your kids older? I mean, if I took just my older two somewhere, I could definitely go to more museums that are like art museums. I would love to go to one.
Mm-hmm. I love art museums.
But I can't because I have a terror.
And they touch things.
Touch things.
My little touches things, so I have not taken him to an actual museum yet. I've taken him to... I just lied, because I did take him to the Natural History Museum, but we stayed on top of him the whole time.
Well, we went that one... The boys had just started walking, and they weren't very fast back then.
Yeah, so it was easier,
much easier
than now.
Yeah, you could swipe the leg, and they can't go anywhere. But now they're fast.
So fast.
And I am not that fast. So, plan it out for the age of your children. You know, obviously, if you have littles, you want it to be very kid-friendly. The zoo is perfect for all ages. Parks are generally okay for all ages. We do lots of state parks because Texas has a really good assembly of state parks. Like, they're very nice, they're clean, they're well maintained.
And we kind of have them all over, too.
And they're not far. Like, none of them are very... I mean, there are some that are... It's Texas, let's be honest. Some of them are very far away.
Yes.
But there are so many within, like, a few hours.
If you've never
nice.
been to Monaghan's, that place is so fun.
I haven't been to there.
Monaghan's? There's the sand hills. They're the white sand hills. It's so cool.
No,
you can ride on big discs down the sand dunes.
It sounds like it's far away from here, though.
It's close to Midland, Odessa.
Yeah. So it's like 8 hours, right?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
I'm trying to think. Hold on.
I lived there at one time.
Abilene's like 6 hours.
I didn't live in Monaghan's. I did live in Midland, Odessa.
So it would be like an overnight trip for us.
But it was so cool.
It sounds cool. We've been to like Inks Lake is only a few hours away. Huntsville State Park is only a few hours away.
You know what's funny is the different types of animals at every single one of our state parks is completely different.
Oh yeah, and that's
completely different.
Like
there's like groundhogs and stuff out and prairie dogs out in Midland, Odessa, but you get down to like San Angelo State Park and that one, you don't have that.
Well, at Huntsville they got gators.
Mm-hmm.
You have they have to beware because literally you could swim in the lake and there's gators.
I'm not big on the gators. I'd take a prairie dog over a gator.
I like to look at them. I'm not a water person, so you
I'll
don't
just
have to worry
twist
about
my
me
ankle.
getting in there.
I'm fine with twisting my ankle with the prairie dogs.
But I love them because you can go on long walks. Kids love to, like, pick up the sticks and throw the sticks. And you're on a state park trail, and nobody cares if you're throwing sticks out in the middle of the woods. Like, they don't care. So your kid can take a stick, and they can whack the ground. Like, it's fun. Pick age-appropriate stuff. The teenagers have fun. They usually hike ahead of us and, like, circle back to us because the toddler has tiny legs and he can't walk so fast. All of a sudden. He can run everywhere, but he suddenly can't walk. You also have to think about how far we're willing to travel, right? Are you talking miles, hours, and how are you getting there? Mode of transportation. What vehicle are you taking? We have 2 vehicles to choose from. We have a minivan and an SUV. And depending on who we take.
Sometimes you rent to do your little travel, and then you come back and use your car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've done that before, where we've rented a vehicle and gone, done something, and come back, because you need a different vehicle to get you to where you need to go. These days, we travel with children and a service dog, and so
you already have a bigger vehicle.
Full. Our car is always full.
To accommodate.
We have to accommodate. So, but we still have to think about miles and stuff and how far we're going to travel, because it's not just hard on the adults, it's hard on the children. And you don't want to be exhausted from traveling all day when you get there.
You know what I found? You know, my body gets so swollen when I travel now.
Me too.
I have to wear compression stockings. Like, I hit that age.
Yes. And I feel better if I do that.
I didn't think I was that old.
Apparently, we are that old.
Yeah, we hit compression stockings age.
And I get excited about them. I have really cool colored ones. I do. I have them in all different colors. I got blues and pinks and purples and greens, and some are like yellow.
Protect those veins.
I don't wear much yellow because I'm like, it doesn't look good on me.
Protect those veins.
Yeah.
I love yellow. Yellow looks good on me.
Oh, well, that's nice. It does not.
It's my color.
It's not mine.
I love sunflowers.
Something that you may think about is, like, do you invite others to join you when you go on your day trip? Sometimes, like, Rosie and I have gone on day trips with our families together, and that's kind of nice. Like, we've done it where we switch passengers, like, where you ride with me and my husband rides with your husband, and we each take a child.
Yeah, way easier.
Those are so nice. So we've done those kinds of things. We've also gone with just our own families and not invited anybody else to go with us. But those are things like, do you need extra entertainment for the child? Mm-hmm. And sometimes we go, we could use some extra entertainment for the child. And so we go and do things together.
Handle each other.
Yeah, because they can be a lot sometimes. Timelines for your trips. Are you going before nap time, after nap time? Are you arriving during nap time?
I tend to drive when my kid's asleep because my kid is very active, and he won't necessarily sleep unless he's in the car with nothing on, absolute silence.
Mine has gotten to where he tries not to sleep in the car. It's his new fun thing he does.
Yeah, he tries not to sleep either, but I just time it where I run him really hard and it's nap time, or it's right before bedtime, give him bath, food, put him in the car.
There you go.
And then drive.
So these are all good tips because you want them to be happy and alert at these places.
Just not screaming and saying, I need to go to potty.
Yeah, you don't want meltdowns. I try to avoid the meltdown stage, right? Like, generally I can talk. We're getting to the stage where I can talk him through his meltdowns. Yes. And that's kind of nice. And that's what we try to do.
And if they're asleep, they pee less.
That's true, too. It's like they can.
Because I just took a day trip yesterday, and they needed to go potty 5 times.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
We weren't even traveling that far. 5 times.
Yeah, but when they're sleeping, they're like, oh, I can hold it for hours.
Yes.
8 hours, actually.
So let them sleep through the pee breaks.
Yeah, that's
and wake them up when you do have a potty spot.
Right? So, a budget is important for your travels. You should know how much it's going to cost you. Because you definitely don't want to break the bank going to these places.
And you're always going to forget something. I forget shoes.
Yes.
That's my problem. I think I've mentioned that probably multiple times on this, but I forget shoes.
Yeah.
And it's because if he does not have his shoes on him and I put him in the car, then I'm going to forget that they're in the house. And so I have had to buy shoes in other cities. I did it in Dallas when we went and visited someone. And I had to go to Walmart And Dallas is completely different. I didn't know where to go.
Well, yeah, because
I just went to Walmart because it was easy. I was like, Walmart makes sense. They will have shoes for a child.
Something, and it's reasonably priced usually. Yes. Sometimes they're ridiculous, but most of the time they're reasonably priced. We forget shoes for daycare, so I mean, for getting them for a trip, I guess that's fine too. But we can't seem to get our kid dressed into daycare.
I do forget them for daycare routinely as well.
We have 3 pairs of shoes now for that reason, because we get all the way to daycare and we live way out of town. And by the time we get there, I'm like, it's cheaper to go to the store and buy a new pair of shoes.
I live in town, but I keep a pair of shoes in my car. That's the difference.
See, you're living on a different level than I am.
Because I always forget them, and then I have to go digging around and make sure I have 2 of them.
I'm going to pour myself a little bit more. Do you want some?
That was really freaking good.
You want some?
Yes.
I guess we should have mentioned that we did chill this wine. I don't have it on ice because my ice maker broke.
Fun times.
And so I'm sad.
Being on a budget. But I mean,
we did have it. I know, right? I gotta get that fixed. But we did have it sitting in the fridge for the last 3 days. So it is nice and chilled because it's a white wine. And most whites you drink chilled. And I would say this is still very lovely. And it's keeping the bubbles really well. Like, usually after we open some of these wines and you start drinking them and pouring them, like, the bubbles start dying. Yeah. You ever notice that?
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like this one
holds been keeping the bubbles.
So we'll see what it's like in a couple of days. But I think it's pretty good.
I love it. But they put literally on the label that it's bubbles.
They do put bubbles, so damn it, there better be bubbles. I expect bubbles. I did do some Google searches for this. And so everydaymadefresh.com had an article with 5 tips for a successful day trip. So, number 1, get the whole family involved in the planning because it makes everyone more excited. And that makes sense, right? Like, my kids are 10 times more excited if they get to choose what we're doing and where we're going and how we get there.
Absolutely.
And whatever. I know my daughter loves planning trips to the beach, and so I let her plan those. I give her usually a time frame until I make it happen. And she figures it out. It's fun. She's almost 13, so she might be 13 by the time this episode releases, but you get the picture. She's old enough that she can use the Google and figure out like what we're going to go do for the day and which beaches we're going to go to because she likes to rotate. Picking the day. They said this was really important because you want to consider holidays and crowds. Which
totally makes sense.
Smart, because we've had spring break, we had Easter. Like, those are all long weekends.
And anytime there's going to be a crowd, it's going to put stress on the whole family.
The whole family. Labor Day, Memorial Day. Memorial Day is the next one coming up. Labor Day is in September. But Memorial Day weekend is coming up. And so, like, I know that weekend is, like, insane.
Always.
For travel. And so...
Or at least in Texas. I don't know how it is everywhere else.
Yeah, here it's nuts. Like, everything is packed. And so you have to think about that. Do you really want to take a trip with the toddler to go somewhere that's going to be so crowded you're miserable the whole time? Like, is it worth it? Like, going to the zoo, there's no way you get me to go to a zoo on a holiday. I'm going to go on a random weekend in the middle of the month.
Yes, when it's cloudy.
When it's cloudy, especially when it's cloudy, because then the animals come out. But these are things to consider, right? Holidays, crowds. They said snacks. You want them easy to eat and that everyone will eat. They said they particularly pick high protein and low sugar to avoid the sugar crashes.
And the crying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So my daughter likes to tell a story where I gave her a McDonald's caramel latte macchiato. I don't know. It was an iced coffee. Go from there. And she had to have been about 5. And she just really wanted one. And I was like, let's try it out. It can't hurt. I'm going to go visit my Nana. Like, it can't hurt. Oh, my God.
It was a terrible decision.
That was the worst. And I gave her, like, a small. And by the time, it was a 2-hour drive to my grandmother's house. By the time we got to my grandmother's house, she was literally bouncing off the walls.
So don't do that.
Don't ever do that. And then, like, she's like, bing, 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 bing. And all of a sudden, she's like, ah! And she's literally laying in the middle of the floor crying. And we're like, why are you even crying? But she crashed.
I don't know why.
And so she's crying, and she passed out. Passed out. And I was like, oh, my gosh. So she's never, ever, 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 ever done that again. Ever, ever. I learned my lesson. I'm never, ever doing that again.
When I was a kid, it was Mountain Dew. You didn't give me Mountain Dew. I don't know if there's higher sugar content or what, but I would bounce